I have no disagreement with interracial marriage. If a couple decides in such a way, only the couple can tell if it's for real and sincere. And so I don't think anyone has a right to dispute that.
I've seen where when you do marry an interracial marriage, it creates a few problems for the kids psychologically. And then I feel that you are creating another minority class that can be oppressed.
When two people are in love with each other and they want to spend their life together, that's what they should do, and nobody should stand in between it. I have one of my relatives, an uncle, he is married, he has an interracial marriage, and their relationship is beautiful.
I don't have any disagreement with interracial marriage at all.
Our next stop will be in the home of an interracial couple. In Madison, interracial couples are quite common. There are over 1 million married interracial couples in this country. Add to that what Interracial magazine says is another 10 million people dating interracially, and you begin to picture what some people say is a trend of the future. I talked with the Mauler family, who are former Wisconsinites. They've been married for 10 years. They have 2 children. I asked them if this area was receptive to interracial marriage.
I don't think it's been overly encouraging of an interracial marriage. I think it's been fairly neutral.
What do you feel, Linda? How do you feel about this area?
I think there are extremes of people here, just as we found everywhere. Some people, for instance, will come up to me and talk to me on the street individually, or come up to us together and talk to us. And then you have the other people who just stay away from you altogether. So it's not really receptive. No one sort of runs out and greets you, but it's, on the other hand, like Bill said, it's not antagonistic either.
What type of unusual situations have you found happening to you since you've been married?
Well, there haven't been an awful lot of them. When we first went to take out our marriage license, I know there was another couple that was rather surprised that we were there. They were also filling out a marriage license at the time. But there haven't really been too many outstanding incidents.
Do you think interracial marriage will help in solving some of the racial problems that we have in our country, Linda?
I think it won't do it all by itself, of course, but it will give people the idea that it's not so uncommon, it is not so unusual, it's not a really big thing, it's not something that you would, it's getting to be more common, so people are beginning to accept it more. In the long run, I think it will help.
You know, one factor that people always throw up when they see interracially married couples is the fact that children suffer in an interracial marriage. Do you think that's true? Does it have any merit?
I don't think so. I think our kids have the advantage of seeing more than one culture and heritage, and have a chance to see a wider variety of lifestyles and backgrounds than most other children would.
How do you deal with problems that kids have at school as far as name calling and that type of thing?
There really haven't been too many of those incidents. There have been a few with individual children, and the school has been very cooperative when those kinds of things have happened, and bringing it to the attention of the other parents, and sometimes very positive relationships have occurred as a consequence of those.
You know, Linda, some people say that if you marry outside of your race, you are betraying that race. Do you think that has any validity?
I don't think it's valid at all. Actually, when we were first married, some people did indicate that, some friends, some people that we knew at the time, but I haven't found it to be valid at all. You know.
What types of problems did you have with your in-laws when you got married?
Well, with my in-laws, Linda's family, first of all, there was just the problem of communication, and they, of course, came from the South, and we had a lot of trouble understanding one another. But most of her family was receptive, and there were no problems in particular with any members of her family.
Linda, you like to?
Well, I had one brother-in-law at the time who was not at all receptive to the idea. They were from Boston, outside Boston, Cambridge area, and he was very unhappy about it. It was my brother-in-law, but with my in-laws, was on the order of a panic, I think. They were very upset to begin with, and it was quite a long time before we all started to settle down and really begin to know each other and enjoy each other's company. I think we're finally getting to the point where I feel fairly close to my mother-in-law now. We get along very well, I think, but it's been quite hard, and we've worked at it very hard. I think, well, very idealistically, that's one of the things that love can do, is that it makes things work out very well.
Would you encourage other people to marry interracially?
I would encourage other people to marry someone that they can have a good life with. And I think that they should do that regardless of the person's race, not because of their race.
What do you tell your children when they ask the question, what race am I? How do you handle that?
We tell them they're of two races, and that they're of mixed racial background. They're both black and white.
Do you think interracial couples, interracial marriage is a sign that our society is moving towards accepting people as human beings, individually?
I feel that's true. It's an indication to me of probably a higher authority at work. In other words, I look at it from a religious point of view, and to me that means that God is at work in our lives when I see people accepting other people as human beings. I think there are some more people accepting others now as human beings, because, not necessarily because of interracial marriages, but because they see interracial marriages, they are more accepting of that, and that's a part of human life.
Do you find yourselves associating with people of black race, the white race, or other interracial couples, or who do you socialize with mostly?
Well, there aren't too many other interracial couples in this area. There are a few that we've gotten to know. Likewise, there are not all that many black families to associate with. We have friends that are both black and white, and we really like to have a very diverse situation and multicultural situation for us and for our children to live in.
So you don't feel isolated in this area?
No, I don't think we would feel that we feel isolated in this area. We've had the opportunity to make friends, and we haven't developed any really long and deep friendships, but that may be partly due to the temporary nature of our stay in this area.
Is there any area in the country that you would not live in because of your marriage?
I think I've hesitated to move to the South, although we've considered going to Atlanta. Bill considered some jobs there recently.
In Houston.
In Houston. But I think the place that I would not want to live is my hometown, and I think that's more because I grew up there. It's in Alabama, Talladega. That would be the city I would not want to live in, I think.